Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Overdrive Digital webinar of today. It's very kind of you to join in, and very happy to kind of have you on board for this webinar. Just kind of a very quick notice before we start. Like these sessions are always really, really cool when people ask questions. So please feel free to ask questions throughout, and we'll have plenty of time for Q&A at the end. I don't know if the chat is working, but if it is, I'm going to ask you guys some questions as we go throughout this presentation too. So hopefully we get lots of interactions. But the more you ask, the better these kind of conversations are. And I am more than happy to answer questions. So do say hello, ask questions. If anyone wants free stuff, now, if you feel like you're dialing in to the shopping channel, you're not. This is swag, Overdrive Digital Swag. We've got beanies. We have cups. There's the blur. Where's the blur? Okay, you'll just have to trust that that looks good. And we've got some notepads as well. And also temporary tattoos. So if anyone wants some free Overdrive Digital stuff, drop me a line on LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn, send me a message. Let me know if you want a hat, a beanie, a cup, a notepad, and we'll get something sent off to you. Would love to do that. So if you want some stuff, let me know. Okay, cool. So, this session is all about kind of making your B2B performance marketing more human. The reason I think this is really important is I believe like the enemy of effective marketing, particularly in the B2B world, is this like corporate, stuffy, jargon filled nonsense. So, kind of creative ideas, campaign ideas, text, copy, words that as marketers we all think make us sound clever, and we think it makes us sound intelligent, but actually sometimes this stuff only serves to confuse our potential customers, which is obviously not a very good thing. So this is the enemy. This is what we're trying to solve. I thought it would be fun to look at some examples before we get started, just for a bit of a laugh, right? So I'm going to pull some examples up. Hopefully, people can get in touch and give me the answers here. But I'm going to pull some examples up and get you guys to guess who wrote these bits of copy. So, one of the number one areas of crime, I think, when it comes to kind of corporate jargon is the corporate statement. So I've pulled this statement off the internet. I'll read it out to you. So, company name will present Copy Nothing, the first global public installation for its new brand to include the physical manifestation of its exuberant modernism creative. Any ideas from anyone on who put this out there? It was Jaguar. So this is Jaguar talking about their art installation at the Miami Art Festival. Exuberant modernism creative. The second area of crime, I believe, or a very popular area of crime, is the corporate values. So I have pulled some corporate values off the internet, and these are from a genuine, well-loved business that everyone on this webinar will know. They're definitely not from a random word generator, I promise you. So here we go. Selflessness, judgment, candor, creativity, courage, inclusion, curiosity, and resilience. I can almost sense the inspiration coming back from everyone on this webinar. Whose corporate values are these? Well, they're actually Netflix's. Believe it or not, these are the Netflix corporate values. There we go. Then we have the need when something bad happens to still kind of put out comms that make ourselves look intelligent and clever, or as intelligent as we possibly can. So this is one of SpaceX's rockets exploding. Don't worry, it was unmanned. No one got hurt. But how did SpaceX describe this catastrophe? A rapid, unscheduled disassembly, which I think is amazing. Anyway, look, the point I'm making is that in marketing, It's all too easy to forget that we're actually trying to talk to human beings. We end up in brainstorming sessions and focus groups and workshops to come up with copy that we think is going to help us stand apart and stand out in the crowd. But actually, like we forget that, well, what does the human being in the equation actually want and need? And if you think about like this webinar, right, we're all here from some form of business to do some form of business, but actually, like we are a virtual room full of people. So I've got a different background to other people on this webinar. I've got different experience. I've got different pressures. You guys have got different experience and different pressures. Um, but like we're all different and we all have different needs and we all have different wants. And, copy that engages us has got to be real. It's got to be genuine. And if you look at kind of some of our content on LinkedIn, time and time and time and time and time again, it's the content that relates to people, stuff that we're doing as a team, things that we've achieved, copy that kind of pokes at a proper like human reaction that does well. So this isn't just a kind of a best practice thing, it's backed up by data, like copy and ideas that genuinely engage people tend to work far better. So, on this session, I'm going to go through 4 ways to make your B2B marketing more human. Before we do, I think I've just been informed that the chat for whatever reason isn't working. But if you've got any comments or questions, the Q&A function, I believe, is. So if you drop your questions and comments in there, when we get to the end of this presentation, we'll dive into the Q&A function and hopefully I can hear from you because it's always really cool to do that. Anyway, let's jump in. So 4 ways to make your B2B performance marketing more human and more engaging for human beings. The first point is around user-generated content. So many of us will be familiar with what user-generated content is, particularly in the world of direct-to-consumer or commercial e-commerce, right, for example. But actually, it's still also like really, really powerful in the world of B2B. And any content or any creative or any ideas that can show human beings using your product and using kind of your service or interacting with your service is really powerful stuff. Why should you care? Well, like again, for us as a performance marketing agency, when we look at the ad accounts that we run, UGC has by far been the most successful creative format over at least the past 12 months. So again, this is really backed up by performance data. Like it performs extremely, extremely well, and it's a pattern that repeats itself over and over again. So it's definitely worth considering and it's definitely worth caring about from a performance perspective. And then if we look at research, so this research piece here by insense.pro says that 85% of people trust UGC more than brand photos or videos. And 70% of brands feel that UGC makes content and creative feel more genuine. So it's backed up by research too. And I think that top point there, the people trusting UGC more than brand photos or videos, again, that's something we see repeat itself as a fact in the performance data that we see. So it's definitely, again, worth considering. Why is this the case? Well, people buy from people. Like if you recommend a restaurant to me, I am far more likely to go and visit that restaurant compared to something else. Like we love recommendations and we get influenced by recommendations from people that we trust. It's a very natural way of buying and it's a natural way of choosing products and services. And it's true within the B2B world as well. Like people buy from people. It's a really big fact. So I've got this example here. So this is Monzo Business. It's not necessarily your traditional UGC that you might see on Instagram Reels, but I think it's a great example of kind of taking that format and taking that theme and applying it to kind of a business world. So the Monzo Business ran a series of YouTube ads focused on people that are using their product in business, right? So it's all about case studies. I'm going to play the video. Hopefully you can hear the audio, um, but we'll go through it.
When you own your own business, you're definitely a jack of all trades. Monzo business allows you to focus on your day job and not have to worry so much about your finances.
I love using Monzo Business because I get to do what I love, no stress. I don't have a wallet that's completely bulging with loads of receipts.
It's freed me up to grow my business and not worry about the money side of it. It speeds up a lot of things that you do for business.
The instant notification when a payment comes through, the fact that I get this little buzz in my pocket brings me comfort.
I've had 4 different business banks before now, but none has been like this. I mean, Monzo Business, it just makes it quite seamless. I really love it.
So I think that's a great example of people using, or like a business using video and examples and case studies of people to show off their product and service. Pleo, if you don't know Pleo, this is another example. So, sorry. So Pleo are an expenses app, or like a prepaid expenses card for staff and employees. We use it here at Overdrive. It's amazing. But if you go and check out their Instagram profile, or you look at the ads that they run through the Meta Ads library, you'll see that so much of their content is UGC based. It's about talking to business owners that have used Pleo to help kind of streamline their expenses processes within the business, getting their experience firsthand, and it's super, super engaging stuff. So definitely go and check Pleo out as a UGC B2B example. Also, like with the Meta Ads library, if we're going to translate that into the world of B2B, obviously LinkedIn ads is a massive part of this. So you can go to the LinkedIn ads ad library and you can see what other people are running, and you can find these types of examples and get a bit of inspiration for your own creative. So hopefully that's a useful and helpful link for you too. Right, my second point is about copy. Now, I know we started this presentation off having a little bit of a giggle about some copy examples that I'd found on the web, but copy is obviously such a vital part of driving success through performance marketing that it definitely deserves its own section here. Again, why care? Well, copy that connects with people, genuinely connects with people, performs better. It always does. Like, this has to be repeated, but kind of making your B2B marketing more human is not just about, oh, let's make it human because it's a nice thing to do. It performs better. This is about making your ads and making your campaigns perform better. And if you can write copy that genuinely connects with people, then your ads will perform better. As a performance marketer at heart, though, to me, these types of things should never be based on feel. Like, you should always have a very black and white, defined yes or no answer for whether or not you've got your copy right. So this is an example here from a campaign and a set of accounts that we ran. The pink line here is a drop in CPA. That drop in cost per acquisition, cost per lead in this case, happened because we got the copy right. So you see that trend and you go, yes, right, we're getting this right now. So it's a black and white answer to, yes, we have got the copy right and it's engaging with people. The way we do this when we're running performance marketing is to group and bucket different copy concepts or hypotheses together into collections, label them as the theory. So in this case, we had like a loss aversion theory, we had a information gap concept, we had the scarcity concept, we had social proofing as a concept. And you can see on the far right hand side of this table, like quite how varied the cost per acquisition was against those different themes. So this enables us to go, well, actually, it's the information gap concept that seems to be resonating best with people. We can demonstrate that and prove that through the CPA data. Now let's try and refine that concept to get it even better and even more engaging. So it takes the guesswork out and it makes it really black and white and it makes it really, really defined. So you should always know if your copy is working. And it doesn't just relate to ad copy. Like, absolutely love it when brands think a little bit outside the box when it comes to engaging people. So I've got a couple of examples here. The first one is the big marketing activity coloring book by Adobe. I thought this example as a kind of a downloadable giveaway was brilliant because it ties into the fact that Adobe is a creative software suite, so on brand for sure. It's helpful. It's a fun thing for people to do. And it's just giving away something nice and it's a little bit different. So go and check that out. I think it's a really, really good example of kind of engaging with people and giving people things within the world of B2B that's a bit more engaging than the norm. My next example here is Zendesk, who many people on this webinar will know as the support ticket software. If you've been on a website and you've gone into live chat to ask a question, chances are you have used Zendesk as a customer. They came up with this concept, which I thought was brilliant. So Zendesk are based in Seattle. They came up with this concept alternative grunge band, Seattle. And if you follow this link and click the video, you can watch the band talking about, oh, we've got to make a concept album now about support tickets and support chat and things like that. So it's quite a funny way of engaging with customers in the B2B world. I quite like that. So if you have a meeting within your business to talk about how you can make your creative and campaigns more human, shortly thereafter, someone will mention the word video, which is great because it's a brilliant format, but you have to think about how you're going to use it. Just doing video because video feels like a good idea is often not enough. Like you've got to plan it out properly. So you've got to really think about how you can use video to connect with potential buyers in a human way. It's not just good enough to use the format, obviously. So here's some things you can consider to have a much better chance when you're planning out your video. So what theories and concepts do you want to test? Like, you're going to test the social proof concept or the scarcity concept? Like, what do you want to test to work out, really, really work out and pin down what's most engaging? If you start with a plan of what you're going to test, it's much easier to actually test it. Do you have any upcoming ad campaigns? If so, what platforms are you going to be running on? That will then tell you what formatting you need on the output of those videos and what layouts you need, etc., etc. What do you need to show and not tell? Like for me, video is all about the fact that you can show people the benefits of your product and show people the benefits of your service rather than just simply telling them. Really thinking about customer questions and like genuine customer questions and pain points that need solving, and how might you use your video to kind of really work on fixing that. Where can you connect with your audience best? For some it will be LinkedIn, for some it will be other platforms. That you really got to pin down that before you start planning your video, because every platform has a slightly different requirement and a slightly different type of video that's going to work best. Then what's your tone? Are you going to introduce humor? Is it serious? Really pinning this down first is a very, very good idea. So if you start thinking about these factors before you just dive in and do video, you will do much better. So here's an example of some video that we shot for a brand. It was all about showing the product off, showing the service off, and it's an expenses scanning app called Dext, in a creative way, adding a little bit of humor in. Because the primary use of this was social, all footage was shot vertically. I'll play it now.
That is busy enough as it is, without having to worry about receipts. It doesn't have to be this way. Expensing your afternoon pick-me-up. Take the hassle away with Dext. Scan your receipts in seconds. All the useful info is extracted automatically. Submit your expense report before you've even picked up your coffee. Good going. Now, will someone please help this chap with his receipts?
Cool. So that's one example. This is another example that I find quite funny. So this is an ad from Volvo. So Volvo were trying to sell and advertise their new truck, which had more ground clearance than the competition. And this is the video that kind of explains that. So I'll play it and you'll get the idea.
Hello, I'm Roland Sanson, technician at Volvo Trucks. I have been working with the ground clearance of the new Volvo FMX. I'm very proud to say it's fantastic. We have a stiff plate protecting all vital parts, and we have positioned airspeed members and the air balloons higher up. This means 300mm ground clearance, just a little bit more than I had. If you want more information, please go to volvotrucks.com. Thank you.
So I think that's an excellent example. It's B2B, but it's still really fun. It gets the point across really, really clearly. And it's for what is essentially a relatively dry product. It's a truck. But yeah, brilliant example. So my final point is about asking questions. And what I mean by this is never just assuming we think we know what's going to engage people, but actually trying to ask people what they need to get more of a sense of this. Now, in the world of B2B, this becomes an even bigger challenge because as a marketing function, we need to deliver leads to sales. Sales need to be able to convert those leads. So they have to be the right leads and we have to be aligned with sales. But this stat here from Zoom Info kind of describes things being quite different. So 90% of sales and marketing professionals report misalignment across strategy, process, and that word is missing on my slide here, and content. Sorry. Okay. So, there's a massive problem between marketing sales and a lot of organizations. I think, like, just asking questions, like talking to sales, like if we get a new client and we're working with them on their marketing and their lead acquisition, one of the first things we want to do is try and get a conversation with sales going. So getting really clear on the sales process, we have to know the full journey. It's not just about driving people in at the top. Like we have to know how that process works to be able to work out what strategies are going to work best. Clearly, like making sure your marketing team know exactly what defines an MQL or an SQL and other sales-led metrics is really important because that means we can refine potentially our keyword choice, our platform choice, our targeting, our creative, our messaging to really drive more of these qualified opportunities into the sales process. Talking about how marketing can help with follow up and nurture. Like, is there an email campaign that's needed to try and encourage people through the funnel and the pipeline? Or do we need to do something else? Could we use retargeting? Discussing common sales objections and customer feedback. This is massive because if we understand as marketers what the common sales objections are, then we can tailor our ad copy around those and give reassurance throughout the process. So again, asking these questions of your sales team who are really close to the customer at the point of purchase or not gives you really, really valuable feedback that you can use within your marketing. This is an exercise that we ran for a pitch process where we really wanted to get to know the audience and the product and the service, right? So we went out and did our own secret shop exercise. So we found someone who met the persona that this particular company was going for. We sent them a set of questions. We set them kind of some tasks to go through and sign up for the service and go through the onboarding process and things like that. And we got some amazing feedback. So we got a really good list of things that Claudia liked, concerns and objections. And we were like, right, well, this is for us, this is gold dust because we now know really what we want to put in our copy from a customer perspective. So there should be never be any blocker or barrier to asking questions of your sales team who get that direct feedback or going out and actually talking to potential customers themselves. As marketers, that's gold dust and should always be done, in my opinion. So final thoughts. I think the main thing is just strive for human connections in all of your activity and you will do better. Like always be thinking about, is this actually relevant to the people we're talking to? Is it going to connect to the people we're talking to? And if it does, I guarantee your performance will be better. Also, say hi. Like, we'd love a chat. If you think Overdrive Digital can help and you'd like to explore that, I would love to have a conversation. If you just want a chat and a coffee, always happy to do that as well. Please do connect on LinkedIn. Search for John Quinton Overdrive. You'll find me. If you want, as I said, I'm going to try and get the blur so you can, whatever. If you want one of our cups, let me know. If you want a hat, notepad, whatever, drop me a note, say hello, and it would be lovely to hear from you. And now I think we will go through to some questions.